Imagine pulling up to a luxury car dealership in a sleek, custom-made sports car, ready to close $1 million business deal, only to be met with suspicion and hostility. That's exactly what happened to Ava Johnson, a self-made billionaire and tech visionary. As she stepped out of her car, dressed in elegance and confidence, an officer confronted her with thinly veiled prejudice, questioning her right to be there. The tension escalated quickly, and the crowd around them couldn't believe what they were witnessing. But Ava wasn't about to let anyone define her worth or her story. What she did next was nothing short of extraordinary, turning a moment of discrimination into an unforgettable lesson in grace, resilience, and empowerment. Stay tuned to see how Ava's powerful response not only silenced her critics, but left everyone watching in awe. You won't want to miss this. Ava stood her ground, her calm demeanor masking the storm of emotions she felt inside. She wasn't just a billionaire. She was a fighter who had clawed her way to the top despite countless obstacles. Born in a small neighborhood and raised by a single mother, Ava had spent years overcoming the very stereotypes that now seemed to corner her yet again. The officer's voice cut through the murmurs of the gathering crowd, his tone laced with doubt as he asked for proof of ownership of the car. Ava could feel the weight of every eye on her, some filled with curiosity, others with judgment. But instead of reacting in anger, she remained composed, her mind racing with how to handle the situation without losing her dignity. Little did anyone know, this moment would become a turning point, not just for Ava, but for everyone who witnessed what came next. Ava took a deep breath, her mind replaying every step that had led her here. She thought of the late nights building her tech empire, the boardroom battles where she had proven her worth time and again. And now, on a quiet afternoon, in a situation that should have been routine, her success was being questioned simply because of how she looked. The officer, growing impatient, repeated his demand, but Ava didn't flinch. Instead, she asked calmly, "What exactly makes you think I don't belong here?" Her question hung in the air, heavy and undeniable, causing a few onlookers to shift uncomfortably. Nearby, a young woman recording the scene whispered, "That's Ava Johnson. I've seen her on TV." The murmurs spread quickly through the crowd, and tension built as two narratives clashed, one of ignorance and prejudice, and the other of strength and unshakable self-respect. Ava knew this wasn't just about her anymore, it was about challenging a system that had failed so many. The officer's expression hardened as he gestured toward Ava's car, his voice sharp. "I'm going to need proof, now." The crowd around them grew, whispers mixing with the faint hum of passing traffic. Ava could feel the weight of judgment in the air, but she stood tall, refusing to shrink under the pressure. Then, out of the corner of her eye, Ava noticed a young boy holding his mother's hand, watching intently. His wide eyes were filled with questions, and in that moment, Ava knew this wasn't just about her anymore. This was about every little boy or girl who might grow up believing they had to explain their success to people who doubted them. Reaching into her designer handbag, she pulled out a business card and held it out to the officer. "Before you go any further," she said firmly, "you should know who you're talking to." The tension was electric, the crowd holding its breath, waiting to see what would happen next. The officer took the business card, his skepticism evident as he glanced at it. His confident smirk faltered for a split second when he read the name, Ava Johnson, CEO of one of the world's leading tech companies. But instead of backing down, he doubled down, crossing his arms. "Anyone can print a fancy business card. I'm going to need something more official," he said, his voice louder now, as if trying to regain control of the situation. Just then, a sleek black SUV pulled into the lot, and out stepped a sharply dressed man with a security team in tow. It was Ava's head of legal, summoned by a quick text she had sent moments earlier. The man walked straight up to the officer, holding out a document folder. "I suggest you review this carefully," he said. "You're standing on very thin ice." The officer hesitated, his confidence visibly wavering, but before he could respond, a new voice emerged from the crowd. Why are you harassing her? It was the young woman recording earlier, now stepping forward. We all see what's going on here, and it's not right. The murmurs in the crowd turned into vocal support, their presence no longer passive but charged with energy. Ava remained composed, but her heart raced. The situation had taken on a life of its own, and as more phones came out to record, the stakes skyrocketed. All eyes were on her, waiting to see how she would navigate this moment that had now become much bigger than any of them anticipated. The officer fumbled with the documents handed to him, flipping through the pages with growing unease. His once authoritative demeanor cracked as he realized the extent of Ava's power and influence. The legal team had come prepared, outlining not only Ava's legitimate ownership of the car, but also highlighting the officer's potential misconduct. The crowd watched intently, the tension thick as everyone waited for his next move. But Ava wasn't done. She stepped forward, her voice calm yet commanding. "This isn't just about me," she began, her eyes scanning the faces in the crowd. "This is about accountability, about changing the way people like me are treated every single day. I've worked too hard and come too far to stay silent." Just as the officer stammered an apology, the twist came. A senior police official arrived on the scene, called in by Ava's team. The official, visibly upset, immediately relieved the officer of his duties, pending an investigation. "Ms. Johnson," he said, turning to Ava, "on behalf of the department, I deeply apologize." But Ava, ever composed, wasn't looking for personal vindication. "This isn't just about an apology," she said firmly. "It's about ensuring no one else has to go through this." She announced plans to fund a nationwide initiative for police bias training, drawing cheers from the crowd. As the cameras captured her moment of triumph, Ava turned to the young boy in the crowd, giving him a nod as if to say, "Asterisk, this is for you, too, asterisk." As the crowd began to disperse, Ava took a moment to look around. What had started as a confrontation filled with prejudice had transformed into a powerful moment of change. She approached the young boy and his mother, kneeling to his level. "Never let anyone tell you what you're worth," she said with a smile. "You define that." The boy beamed, and his mother whispered, "Thank you." Ava nodded, her resolve strengthened. She knew this was just the beginning of a larger mission, one that would require the same determination that had built her empire. Later that evening, as the story went viral, Ava's phone buzzed with messages of support and gratitude. She didn't seek the spotlight, but she knew her actions had made a difference. Standing by her window, she reflected on the day. It wasn't just about her journey. It was about paving the way for others to walk with their heads held high.